Everybody, test 1 2 3, test 1 2 3. Just want to make sure that everything is working properly before we get started. Check 1 2. Can you guys hear me? So what's happening? My name is Professor Bobby Borg, also known as Coach, and today what we're going to do is give a brief overview on record companies. We're going to talk about their structures and we're going to talk about their deals. And literally, I'm going to do this like top level stuff. So you guys are going to have to make sure to get in and do the readings in your books. You know, here's the version that I have. This is my book, Business Basics for Musicians. But in any case, let's get rocking and rolling. All right, so structure. So we're going to talk about the ownership and who they sign. And we're going to look at majors, indies, and DIY. Then we're going to look at the types of deals. And we're going to look at demo deals. We're going to look at traditional deals. We're going to look at 360 deals, net profit deals, production deals, DIY deals. Okay, then we're going to look at real quickly some key deal point issues, and that's going to wrap it up. I'm going to try to do this, like I said, pretty fast. So first of all, like, what is a record company? So a record company is a business. Let's make no mistake about that. A record company isn't like this company that is supposed to make your dreams come true and is supposed to, like, you know, this sounds horrible, but is supposed to put you first at all times. I think there's this illusion, you know, and understandably, right, that the record company is supposed to, like, you know, is entirely like made for you. Record companies are made for them. They're businesses. They find an opportunity where they can make money and a profit, and that is their first objective. And basically, you are the vehicle in which to get them there. Okay, I mean, that sounds pretty cold, but it's pretty much the reality, right? So we just have to understand that. But they are in the business of scouting, recording, manufacturing, distributing, marketing, licensing, and in some cases even managing, depending on their business model, right? And this could be CDs, vinyls, downloads, streams, NFTs, whatever. Okay, when we talk about structure, we're talking about the makeup of the companies. So let's take a look. We'll start with major labels first. So major labels typically have large staffs, lots of employees, and multiple departments. Those departments can range from the A&R department, which stands for Artist and Repertoire, and these are the people that generally go out and try to find talent that's going to make the record company money. Then there's the promotion department that does radio. There's finance and royalties, business and legal. There's international departments, meaning that there's departments in international territories that, you know, are there to try to make your records happen, you know, which is an advantage. There's catalogs departments. You've been hearing a lot about this in the news lately. They manage the catalogs, but you've heard, you know, people selling their catalogs as well, and that's why it's been in the news a lot. There's film and TV departments, which licensing music and film and television, digital music or marketing departments, and of course, you know, Instagram, TikTok, you know, YouTube strategies. There is the strategic marketing or sponsorship department. They're responsible for getting you, obviously, sponsorships and hooking up these different product endorsement types relationships. There's the sales department. These are the people that get your music to the DSPs, make sure that it has prominent positioning on, you know, in playlists and that type of thing. Production departments, and you have distribution departments as well. When you talk about independent labels and ownership, primarily what you're talking about is publicly traded companies. And publicly traded companies have a number one responsibility to their shareholders. Should I say any more? Public traded companies have a responsibility to their shareholders first and foremost, and all shareholders care about is making money. Did you hear me, you guys? All right. Then that should make a whole lot of sense, right? In case you don't know, a lot of the major label groups are owned by bigger companies, like Universal Music Group is owned by Vivendi and Tencent. And then you have, you know, Sony Music Entertainment, which is owned by Sony Corporation of America. And you also have Warner Music Group, which is owned by Access Industries. These are very, very large companies. Okay, you guys, who do they normally sign major labels? Commercially viable artists, obviously, right? People at the right age, people with hit song potential, people that have radio or playlist friendly status, usually more developed, more accomplishments. They have greater work ethic. They might already have relationships with great managers. Let's take a look at independent labels real quick and their structure. I call independent labels divided into two different structures. True indies, meaning that they have a relationship with, I beg your pardon, they have no relationship with any of the majors. The owners truly finance them. They're truly independent of the majors. And these are typically smaller companies, or at least they have fewer employers and employees and fewer departments than the majors would. Then there's what's called larger indies, and larger indies do have a relationship with majors. Oftentimes they have major distributed relationships. They have what's called upstreamed relationships, and sometimes they're even owned by the majors and you don't know it. Okay? So just do some research on each one of these relationships. So in other words, they're an indie, but they have a relationship with a major. Okay? All right, moving on. Who do they sign? Typically, these labels sign less mainstream artists, more undeveloped artists, music yet to still be discovered. And then let's move on to DIY labels. So DIY labels, their structure pretty much is that you self-own, right? It's a self-owned, self-managed label. You are the sole proprietor. I mean, you could certainly make it an LLC or an S Corp or C Corp, but essentially you own the label. It's self-funded, and you figure out ways to get the money on your own. The employees, generally speaking, are you, right? Or your band, or the interns you're able to scrape up, or the street teams you're able to put together. But essentially, it's your show. Departments, you handle all the departments. You do A&R, you do production, you do sales, radio promotion. Most of the time, a lot of DIY artists don't have money, so they do this in-house, meaning that, they have to do it all, which is really complicated, and which is why a lot of DIY artists get really frustrated, because they have to not only be really, really great artists, and they have to be good at recording, they also have to be good at promoting, they also have to have money to do ads and stuff like that. So it's a lot of work for a DIY artist. But the general philosophy is this, that you can attract attention by first helping yourself. So you can generate a buzz, you could start building the numbers, you could start getting some data that looks good, and then other people are going to take notice, and they're going to want to come in, and they're going to want to work with you. And the good news is that the more work you do on your own, the bigger or the greater leverage you're going to have, which means the greater deal that you can get. Okay? And then the other philosophy of a DIY artist is just like, screw the labels. I don't need anyone. I'm just going to do it myself. Right? So a lot of times DIY artists just do it themselves because they like that power. Okay? So what's happening? We got Rin in the house, and we also got... let's just see, Anka Maril Oji, I think it is. Anyway, what's happening, you guys? We're talking about record labels right now. We're talking about the structure, and now we're going to talk about the types of deals, okay? So let's move on to the types of deals. And just one more thing real quick. You might ask, so do you need a record label or not? And I'm going to talk about this in my next live session this Thursday at 1 o'clock. But generally speaking, I mean, it depends. First of all, number one, you got to remember, it's not like they're waiting for you. Like, in other words, it's not like always your choice. Like, that's like me saying, do I need to date supermodels? I mean, it's just like, it's kind of a ridiculous statement, because there's, unless they're knocking at your door, it's a ridiculous statement, right? But number two, it depends. I mean, you have an expert team of people that, if they do what they say they're going to do, can really work wonders, right? And they have funds and budgets you probably don't have access to. And again, if they do what they say they're going to do, it could really be helpful, right? Particularly if you have a good attorney and you negotiate a somewhat as favorable deal as you're going to get, then it could be useful, right? But there's lots of different examples of people that have signed where it worked out horribly. I was signed with Atlantic Records, and we begged Atlantic to drop us, because it just wasn't, they weren't doing anything, so it was just ridiculous. In any case, let's move on. Let's talk about the types of deals. So first of all, when we talk about types of deals, I'm going to talk about sales and streams a lot. So we kind of need to know a little bit about, just generally speaking, like what that means. When we talk about sales, when we're talking about vinyl or CDs, like one vinyl CD sale equals one sale, of course. 1,500 streams, according to Don Passman, equals one sale. And 10 downloads equal one sale. Okay, just kind of a little bit of information you need. So let's talk about types of deals. There's a demo deal. Demo deals don't happen as much as they used to because people have access to home recording gear and can make their own recordings fairly well. But these deals still exist. And a demo deal is what it sounds like. It's a deal where they give you a little bit of money to go make a demo, and depending on the outcome, they either sign you or they don't. Typically, they have what's called first right, meaning they have the first right to choose, but if they decide not to, you can go somewhere else. But if someone else offers you a deal, they have the rights to match that deal. And if they match it, you have to go with them. It's called a demo deal. A traditional deal is the way deals have been done for many, many, many years. Essentially, they give you a fund up front, which you have to record your record with. Then they allocate you a royalty for sales. And that royalty has all kinds of crazy calculations. And when they take whatever that amount equals and they put it towards all of the money they spent, only when your royalties start to surpass, which is called recoupment, once it's recouped, then you start getting whatever that royalty amount is. A lot of people never recoup, just so that you know. Okay, then there is what's called 360 deals. And 360 deals are situations where record companies said, you know what, we're not making any money anymore, because of this digital era and because of all these other things. Just generally speaking, we aren't making any money anymore. We're losing money. So what are we going to do? So then they started sharing in the revenue of the artist, records, merch, tours, songs. And what they did is they kind of created a situation where they're taking a little bit of money from each one of these areas. And it could be done two ways: passively, which basically means that they just are entitled to a share of that income, or what's called actively, where they actually own these different areas. They enter into deals and then they give you a portion of that royalty. Of course, a passive deal would be a better situation. Then there's other deals like net profit deals. These deals might exist at independent labels where essentially the record label gives you an amount of money and they basically say, look, once we pay off all of our expenses and we take care of everything, then we'll split the profits 50-50. You just have to be careful to define what expenses are, of course, right? Then there's also other deals like production deals. Production deals are situations where a group of producers will come in and they'll sign an artist with the promise that then they're going to get the production deal sort of signed to a label or a major distributor. But when you enter in these types of deals, they could be good and they could be bad. They could be good because you're working with a great producer that gets you somewhere that you normally wouldn't be able to get yourself. And they could be bad, obviously, is because now you're locked into this deal where everything goes through the production company. And typically all of the royalties and advances pass through to the production company and are split with you 50-50, and sometimes even 60-40. So that can horribly reduce the amount of money that you have coming in, okay? Then there's just what's called the DIY deal. And that basically is the deal where you just do it yourself, right? So you come up with your own money and you get 100% royalty, after any expenses that you might have. But this could be quite advantageous. I mean, imagine if you were smart and made vinyl. And let's just say you made 300 units of vinyl at $40, and sold it at $40. That's $12K. And then let's just say, for example, your costs of doing that were maybe $3,600 or so. You already have an $8,400 profit. So just from selling 300 units of vinyl, like at your shows, and I'm not saying that's easy, but let's just say you got 300 units made and you sold 300 units at $40. That's $8,400 profit. Maybe your cost to make that vinyl was $3,600. So obviously you already have a nice profit. Okay, so I'm just going to correct myself real quick. 300 units at $40 is a $12K profit, and then your expenses maybe would be $3,600 for that, and your profit's $8,400. You tell me when you're going to profit $8,400 from Spotify as an independent DIY artist. Most DIY artists will tell you it takes thousands of streams just to get $100, right? All right, so these are all the types of deals that you guys might run into. Just, a lot of times I have students say, hey, can I show you my record contract? And I say, no. And they go, what? And I go, just think about these things first. Number one, who is the label? So who is offering you the deal? Like, I mean, is it Schmuck Blow Records, like in Silver Lake? Or is it like, Universal? Or is it Sony? Or is it like, a bigger label that has has credibility and has relationships and artists you can look into, right? And then what else? Number two is how much will you get to make a record? So in other words, how much will you be able to get to make your record? I mean, are they giving you a substantial amount where you can make the record you want, you can hire the producer you want, and so on and so forth? Moving on, how do you know they'll even release your record? This is very, very important. Does it have a guaranteed release clause in the contract? Okay, and oftentimes what that means is if they don't release it, you have an out on, from your agreement as well. Do you have guaranteed marketing support? I mean, isn't that why most of you guys would sign a label deal, because you want support from the labels? But does it say it's going to give you support? And you'd be surprised, a lot of contracts don't say that they're obligated to give you a certain amount of money. So you would want to make sure that that's happening. Let's see what else. Okay, and then how much are they signing you for? Are they just signing you for one single? Are they signing you for a cluster? Are they signing you for an album? Are they signing you for multiple albums? What are the options, and guarantees? These are all important things to look at, okay, you guys? So that's pretty much it. Let me see if I have any questions worth asking. It looks like we got something to get some experience during my school break by seeking some internships in LA. Okay, we got a question from Sol, S-O-L. What's happening? I hope you're still on board here. Email me. Go to my website, bobbyborg.com, and email me, because I can speak with you about that. I'm the internship teacher as well here for our program. And I can give you some tips and advice on that, okay? I also have a bunch of videos on internships on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/BobbyBorg. Just go to the little magnifying glass and type in internships, and they'll give you a lot of tips about, like, there's a lot of videos on there about internships and stuff, okay? So Sol, is it? S-O-L. It was cool that I got a chance to lecture in front of you in the past, and looking forward to doing some more in the future. All right, everybody, let me see. We got anybody else? We got Rin in the house, Peachy Butter, Basic Bread. Man, where do you guys come up with these names? We got Mitch Miller. What's happening? All right, I don't know what Mitch Miller is saying here. All right, Saul, you're welcome. Coming to heal the world. Okay, Mitch Miller is coming to heal the world. What you know there, Cupcake? All right, we got lots of interesting people online. Hopefully this was beneficial to you guys, and that lots of my students and colleagues and stuff are watching this. Hey, check this out. Come here, doggy. Look at this. We got a little buddy, a little doggy came to see me. What's up, buddy? Oh my gosh. What are you doing down there, doggy? All right, anyway, I'll see you guys later, all right? Sorry about that. Take care. Bye-bye.